Hello, my name is Jesse Macias. My new friend for this project is Cole Whittington. He and I will be talking about the video game industry. Cole and I are both big gamers, but we both think that the industry could use improvement in some areas, specifically in online gaming. Cole will be joining us later. To kick off, I will be talking about the size and the significance of the video game industry. In 2017 alone, the video game industry had a revenue of over $28.7 billion, and that revenue is expected to increase at least 3.5% every year, culminating to an expected $34 billion in the year 2022. There are currently over 83,000 businesses in the US based off the video game industry. Video game development has been historically dominated by Japan and the United States, but the market is going strong and stretches all over the world and will continue to grow. Now, the structure of the video game industry is an interesting one. The industry's life cycle is definitely in the growth stage. 20 years ago, adults were not buying video games for themselves. Now, modern day adults, such as Cole and myself, we grew up playing all the older video games, and we will probably continue to play the newer ones. Gamers are growing old, and of course younger generations are playing video games as well, so the demand will not be slowing down anytime soon. The industry also ranks high on technology change. Companies in the industry must have the best graphics, features, accessories, so on, to be competitive, which is why changing technology is high and important. For example, Xbox just came out with the most powerful console on the market. PlayStation has the virtual reality headset, and the Nintendo Switch can be played on a TV or it can be mobile. Needless to say, competition is very high in the industry. Most games are offered on all platforms, but each company wants to pull you and keep you loyal to their service. There are various factors contributing to the success of the video game industry. The first being that the industry has the ability to quickly adopt new technology. Things like graphics, mechanics, servers are continuously improving all the time. Another success factor is aggressive marketing and franchising. Video games are heavily marketed in various forms of media. Video games are very mainstream nowadays, and their presence in the market is very difficult to ignore. Another success factor is the development of new products. As I mentioned earlier, the Nintendo Switch has some very cool features that have never been seen before, and it has given them their most successful launch in history. I have one here to show you an example. This is the Switch in mobile mode. You can take this anywhere, play it anywhere. The cool feature about this is you can pull the controllers off. You plug this into your TV using a port. Then you have this cool little controller port where you plug your controllers back in, and voila, you can play this on your couch like any other video game. As previously mentioned, Sony PlayStation, the Microsoft Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch are three of the biggest players in the industry today. Other notable players include Activision Blizzard Inc., a gaming publisher. GameStop Corporation is the video game retailer. Electronic Arts is a game developer and a publisher. The biggest player in the industry is Sony Corporation, makers of the PlayStation. They hold 19.8% of the market shares. During their last fiscal year, they had a revenue of over $4 billion. They have enjoyed an increase in revenue every year since the PlayStation 4's release in 2013. The second biggest player is Microsoft Corporation, makers of the Xbox. They hold 17.1% of the market shares. They too have enjoyed an increase every year since the release of the Xbox One. Their last fiscal year resulted in a revenue of over $4 billion as well, exceeding Sony by a few million dollars. Sony is expected to regain the lead in the current fiscal year. Now at this time, I would like to pass this over to my gaming partner, Cole, where he will take over the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. And as he said, I'm Cole Whittington, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the video game industry's target customers. Video game companies try to appeal to as many diverse amount of customers as possible to try to broaden their market. They normally, though, tend to market towards teenagers and young adults, being young adults, people more like my age in their 20s to 30s who grew up when video games were starting to get as popular, and then also aiming towards the teenage market to continue to get those youth into video games as well. The other people that they seem to target are other customers that have more disposable income, people who are not living paycheck to paycheck, as video games are not seen as necessarily a necessity, but more of something people get when they want them. And then another target that a lot of people seem to overlook are experienced and professional gamers. These professional gamers have their own industry of sports called esports, where they compete on these professional games and showcase how good they are. And when thinking about the customers and designing, the companies normally try to make a game that, one, will fit the average Joes, but will also appeal to that bigger scene of esports, because that's where the money's at. All right, now we're going to talk about the segmenting of products and services in the gaming industry. 41.1% of the revenue in the gaming industry is from physical games and software. 32.6% of the revenue is going to come from the actual physical consoles and devices that the company sell. 17.2% of the revenue comes from online game sales and online software sales, while 8.8% of the revenue comes from accessories that go to these consoles and games. The main thing that stuck out to me on this slide was the increase in amount of revenue that comes from online games and softwares, as companies seem to be making a bigger push to marketing their stuff on the actual web stores instead of in actual retail stores to take out the middleman. The attributes of a gaming industry. When looking at the attributes of a gaming industry, the main thing that came to me was that all of their consumers seem to have an amount of free time to use on these games. The number of internet connections is also a huge factor in this, as the more people that are connected to the internet, more people that will be able to play and play together, increasing their daily player base. And then another thing that appeals to most customers about the gaming industry is the online social interaction of being able to play with friends that you know in real life and friends that you've met online, be able to play each from your own home. And then the other thing that drives the gaming industry is the attribute of customer loyalty, where customers, when they seem to buy one product from one company, they're more likely to buy other products from that exact same company due to keeping it all the same and because they have that customer loyalty. All right, intellectual property in the gaming industry, as well as copyrights, are a big issue, as it causes a lot of paperwork and mess for most of these gaming companies. But to avoid multiple lawsuits and to make sure that no one has to deal with any of this, they have set up guidelines, and these intellectual properties are mainly used to protect games from copyright in areas such as coding and software of the actual games, the artwork and images that are used in the games, and then the music and sounds used in the games as well. But these are both ways. These are the companies trying to protect themselves from having their images and music stolen, as well as a way for them to regulate making sure companies don't steal other artists' musics and images in their games.